Americans already made it. So they would have been 1, 2, and 3 going into the all-around finals, but they can't. So let's
Okay, hey, let's since you brought Gabby up.
Okay.
And I'm going to do this because my wife has said this about Gabby. She thinks Gabby's kind of a sore loser. What do you think? Because what happens is, and you have to kind of watch it. There was one time, and it's been kind of like a buzz on social media when they got their medals, that she didn't put her hand over her heart while they were playing the national anthem. Okay, you know what? That doesn't really bother me too much. I'm a veteran. It should bother you, Dave. No, it doesn't. I don't care. You're standing up there. She had a smile on her face. I don't care if you put your hand. As long as you're standing at attention, you're not just sitting down and pouting.
Right.
No big deal. Okay. I don't care if you put your hand on your heart. But sometimes it shows the stands while some of her teammates are out there performing, and she's really not paying attention.
I mean, she went from golden child to third best, right? Overnight. I mean, Olympic overnight, because we don't see the 4 years in between. No one watched World Gymnastics. I think that's fair to say. Like,
Very
unless
true.
you competed in gymnastics or like at some point in your life, or you have a family member who does gymnastics, the majority, the popular opinion, the public, the general public is not going to watch Gymnastic Worlds for the 4 years until the Olympics happen.
Okay. Well, so you think you said the Fiji rugby team.
That's just an example,
Okay.
because we are kind of bouncing here a little bit. But what I was going to say is there are those types of stories which are really feel good, and I think they snag the spotlight in a very positive way. And then, like you said, there's like a dominance, right? Like Katie Ledecky, like Michael Phelps' return,
Bolt,
Usain Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's running 2 races. Did he run the 400 again, or the 200?
200.
He is running the
He's
200,
running
or
200.
did? I don't know if that's finished yet.
I don't think it's completed yet.
But
Well, it could be completed because we can just go on the website because everything's like 3 or 4 hours
So
behind.
I'm going to go on and say that I don't think. Well, I think Usain Bolt is so interesting and so captivating and super talented for a sport. Yes, he's won 3 golds and 3 medals in 3 consecutive.
Right. He's the
100
fastest man in the
meters,
world
3 times in a row.
You know what? If you're the fastest man in the world, that's a great title to have.
Right, but when you look at Ledecky and Phelps and people like that and how many events that they're dominant in, I think it automatically removes Usain Bolt from the conversation.
So going back to our conversation of the person that I don't like, she took it as swimming is swimming. It doesn't really matter what stroke it is. The backstroke's the same as the crawl. The butterfly is the same as the breast, which is totally is not true.
Right,
It's a farce.
That's like saying that the 400, the 1600 in track are all as meaningful as the 100. You know, like I think the freestyle is the 100.
Right.
The 100 freestyle is the 100 sprint in track and field. Like I think they go hand in hand, and everyone wants to win that. In the 4x100 is like the relay. You know, like that is the most meaningful team event.
But the point that she was trying to make was track athletes can't win that. They don't have the chance to win those many medals. And I'm like, no, they can. Carl Lewis did it. He ran the 100. He ran the 200. He did the long jump. He did the triple jump. That's 4 right there. He was part of the relay teams. There's like 4 or 5 different relay teams.
Right.
So
he was probably in the relay for the 100, the 400,
Right. And so her saying that, swimming is so predominantly, it's just you have so many events. Track has that many events. They have a lot of events.
Right.
Now, do they choose to take part of it? No.
And training for those is so different, like cross-training like that. But like I said, I think most dominant, most compelling, I think Usain Bolt, he's the most interested anyone's going to get in track the whole Olympics.
Right.
That's 2 events, 3 heats, 4 heats
Something
to
like
get
that.
to the
Yeah.
final.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. But when you look at Phelps' storyline and you look at how a guy who is 15 years, 10 years past his competitors and still beating them consistently, that's incredible.
Right.
And then you look at Ledecky, who is posting times that are 10 seconds faster than the second best person in the world. You know, like we're not just talking about, she was at a swim meet and she beat everyone by 10 seconds. Like it was a bunch of random
like
people.
The best
there.
of the best you're going against.
The best of the best. Now, maybe there are some people who don't compete for one reason or another. Maybe they were on the Russian team and they got nixed, or whatever. There's a myriad of reasons that maybe all of the best people aren't there. But again, the competition of level is so high, and for her to be 10 seconds ahead of the group, 11 seconds ahead of the group is just crazy to me. You know, that's like being the Patriots and beating somebody by, I don't know, like 80 points regularly or 100 points regularly. That's because if you look at all the other races, you look at the 100s,
Right.
you look at everything, it's like tenths or hundredths of a second that the next place wins by. So when you start to like math it out like that and it's 10 full seconds, that's mind-blowing to me.
Of course, I was going to bring something up there, and my computer kind of froze up. Isn't that
Technology?
amazing?
Nice.
Technology is only the finest here.
So is there anybody I named that you think deserves a mention for stealing the show?
I think Michael Phelps, once again.
That's what I was going to say. Phelps is just completely just dominant, and it's crazy to see how many gold, like 27, 28 now?
28.
28. Just blows my mind.
So here's the thing. He swam in 30 Olympic final races,
Right.
okay? And he's won 28 of them. He's only lost twice.
And most of those, and one of those is in a relay.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
I think 2 years in a row, because America lost the relay in 12 and 08.
But they lost it in Australia.
Lost it to Australia once
Australia.
and France once.
Once.
So it's actually, I think that was the most meaningful medal for one of the most meaningful American medals as a whole, was to come back and win the 4x100 freestyle. Like, I think that's something that we really strive for, to be dominant as a team. And so I think that was huge coming back. I'm trying to think of some other interesting storylines.
This is my most interesting one. And she is from Romania.
Okay.
She's 41 years old. She's a gymnast. Okay, I'm going to really butcher her name, and I'm going to go ahead and show.
Here, maybe I'll give it.
There you go. It's right there. I'm going to pass it to you.
Oksana Chusovitina is probably as
Nice.
close as I can get.
I saw-
I know Oksana is correct. The other part.
Okay, she made it in the vault
Uh-huh.
where she could compete for a medal. Now,
Right.
of course, it didn't help that she was going against Simone and
Two of those medals are
Hernandez
accounted for,
are accounted
basically, right?
for. And of course, the people that she's going against. I mean, she's like triple the age of them.
Right. She's like even more Michael Phelps than Michael Phelps.
Right.
And in a sport that favors like people who are like, you have to be 16, but there's a member of the U.S. team who turned 16 the day before the Olympics. If you're
20 and under. Once you get to 20 in gymnastics,
you're old.
That's you've hit your high
4
point.
year shelf life there.
You've peaked. You
other-
better go to diving.
The other honorable mention goes to the kid from Singapore who swims at UT, who was a Michael Phelps fan since he was 8, and beat Michael Phelps in one of the only silvers Michael Phelps has from this Olympics.
I forgot about him.
So I mean, when you
I remember I watched the race and I was really impressed with what he did.
not only did he beat his hero, he also brought his country its first gold medal. So,
Right.
I mean, like, again, that's kind of like the Fiji thing.
Have you ever been to Singapore?
No, sir.
Okay, Singapore is the size of Chicago. Singapore is maybe the size of maybe the Dallas. Is Chicago bigger than Dallas? I think so.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Chicago proper is actually, like, goes out a whole lot further
So
than you
pretty
think it
much,
does.
if we took Dallas in the Fort Worth area,
Okay.
that's the size of Singapore. Okay, So-
and not as nice.
and no, it is nice.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's the cleanest city in the world.
Wow.
That's so
You
interesting.
can't chew bubble gum there. You cannot have gum in your mouth.
Will you
at
be
all.
arrested?
No. Not only will you be arrested, but they have a very brutal. They have caning. They'll cane you. So
That's one way to keep your city clean.
There you go.
It's like the Batman way of keeping your city.
They
I'm
just like
keeping
smack
Gotham
you in the
safe.
mouth with the cane and your gum comes flying out.
well, okay, we can look this up later on, but I'll go ahead and kind of digress off because this is what we're really good at. It was in the early '90s or something like maybe mid '90s. But an American kid, went over there and he started spray painting cars, and he was sentenced to five smacks of the cane. They say the first one knocks you out.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
So the extras are just a bonus.
yeah, the other four, they wait for you to wake
So
up.
does it get knocked into and out of consciousness with each hit, or like?
I don't know.
They actually then just dunk you in water to bring you back.
Yeah.
And then,
The
Yeah.
couple
You still got 4 more hits.
The couple times I went to Singapore, I was like, I'm not going to play around this here. I'm not going to wait for the. I'm going to wait
You're
for
gonna
the.
be a good boy in
Right.
Singapore.
You did the crosswalk, and it shows you the hand, and it shows the guy walking. I call that guy Pete. When Pete says go, you go. When Pete gives you the hand, he tells you to stop. So I was following Pete. All right. So last night there was something that very controversial.
Boxing?
Shawnee Miller beat Allison Felix in the 400 meter.
Oh, yeah, the dive.
The dive.
The
that nobody knew
dive.
you could do until she did it, and now everybody's like, "Well, the rules say you can do it." And da da da.
Well, and actually,
let's get Brad. Brad, what's your opinion on it?
I think in track you shouldn't be able to dive. I mean, I just think track is more about how
Finishing
fast
the
you are
race.
on your feet and finish your race on your feet. Don't just go to dive, and nobody's done that in however long that it's just. I don't know. I just don't think it should be allowed.
So I read another article
Go ahead.
about this, and they talked about how it really doesn't matter, right? Like the dive didn't change anything. Like her trajectory was still that she was going to beat her.
Right.
And that it added no value. If anything, it might have slowed her down doing the dive. And there were several track people who said, oh, I've done that twice this year at other meets. But again, no one cares or watches track until it's the Olympics. So people are making a big deal over something they have no idea about. Like they might say, oh, no one ever dives, but I even remember watching in the prelims somebody dove or fell. And again, do you know if she really ate it? Like, do you disqualify someone who ate it even though they crossed the finish line because they dove? That seems silly to me.
Okay, this rule that is kind of funny to me. I kind of put it in the area of sliding into first base.
Right.
As you hit the ball and you slide into first base. You're not supposed to do it. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been done. But it's against the unwritten law of baseball.
But everyone will tell you, every coach or any player who ever played baseball will tell you that you are no faster by sliding.
Exactly.
That you were better off staying on your feet, especially if they just have to tag the bag.
Right.
The only difference is maybe a distraction, right? Like that's the only edge you gain by sliding in, or because I can't think of an instance where it's not a force at first. If you're sliding back maybe and you're trying to go under a tag, that makes sense. But sliding into first on a regular base hit doesn't make sense.
So we're just telling everybody just go ahead and get over it. You can
absolutely.
You can slide.
It's not going to change your speed. Your outcome was probably your outcome without them sliding and or falling, depending on what you believe. And if somebody wants to put that kind of effort and put their body on the line, I'm all for it.
Okay, and I'm sure tracks have changed. Oh well, I know tracks have changed since when I was in school.
Woo.
Okay,
Many moons ago.
Many. You can keep on going with those minis, but the track that I was in, if you dove on that thing, I mean, you were coming up with some rug burn. Simple as that.
In that article I was reading about, someone was saying that they remember diving on track and like literally ripping a nipple off, like because they slid and just it was that rough. So like I said,
and this track looks really smooth. Now I'm not there, so I don't know.
But it's not soft, I mean, it does have some give, right? It has some bounce. Like
I just remember my track in high school being concrete, with
right?
About not even a half an inch padding on top of the concrete.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that was, that would hurt, and I'm pretty sure the Olympics is something similar to that.
It's not like they're running on a trampoline out there.
Yeah.
That's what.
Right.
It's not like the floor routine where they're bouncing.
Okay, so let's make a bracket here. Let's finalize it down. What are you going to walk away with, Brad? That's the best. What was the most memorable thing about this Olympics so far? Obviously, we got some days left, but what are you going to walk away with? And as the next Olympics approaches, you're going to be like, oh man, but last year I don't think anyone will do this.
Well, I just think Phelps' dominance is just to me that's the biggest story. And for him to do it in his last Olympics and to give everybody a lasting memory of him, capturing the 28th gold medal.
Going out on top.
Just like, Peyton Manning did in the Super Bowl.
Sort of.
Yes, sort of.
Peyton Manning's defense went out on top.
Very true. Very true.
Let's put Michael Phelps in perspective here, okay? There was a preseason game going on while he was getting ready to win that last medal that he had. In Baltimore, they stopped the game, watched him swim the race, and they're like, "Yay, good job! Let's play some football now." The NFL took second stage to Michael Phelps. That is.
Let me give you another piece of information here.
That's something else.
I was Googling Michael Phelps medal count. This is earlier. This is before he was at 28, right? When he was at 25 or something, he had when he was at 25 gold medals, he had more medals. Like he had more gold than like 170 countries who have been in the Olympics.
Bling.
ever.
Bling
like,
bling.
more than like if you take their gold, their silver, and their bronze.